Hello everyone, in the next video I will be interviewing Dan Movahedi. He is an international MMA referee. He's refereed in the UFC, he's fought pro MMA, he's also a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and you suss from his vibe an absolute geezer as well. This is just a prop, there's actually nothing on there, and this isn't even attached. It's just to look more professional. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the next video.
How are we doing, Jack?
Mr. Movahedi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I met you in this very gym, the one in South London, New Wave in Bromley.
Yep.
And
if you do walk past, remember, orange and blue, and you know you've come to the right place.
There we go, the children's play area. So I found out that you'd referee. You're an international level referee, really.
Yeah.
How did you get started in there?
How did I get started in refereeing? Well, it kind of played in itself. I obviously used to fight, and after my fighting, I say career, because really back in the days when I used to, there was no such thing as, even though you fought as a professional MMA fighter, it was more like the professional rule sets as opposed to everyone. Even now, when people go, I'm a professional MMA fighter, are you really? Is it your sole income of making your living through professional fighting?
You feel most people are sort of blagging it?
No, but most people are getting confused that they fight under the professional rule sets of MMA fighting. And we can come back to that.
Yeah.
And then, just from there, I was lucky enough when I used to work on promotions like Cage Rage, and I even fought on like Cage Rage Contenders, stuff like that. I got to meet a few good people like Mark Goddard, Leon Roberts, and having those guys as my mentors to, push me in that direction of refereeing. It's always something I felt I could fall into, and it came about with me going to a show at Scala up in London, and one of my training partners, Ashley Grimshaw, who trains GB Top Team.
Ash, yeah.
I was there actually watching a show, a Thai boxing show they had put on with Philip too, but evidently they had two amateur MMA fights thrown onto the show, and he went, "Oh, do you want to fancy refereeing? You kind of know what you're doing. You've been around the sport. I've seen you work around other shows." And that was my first taste of refereeing MMA.
Was that something that was decided on the day?
Pretty much,
really?
Yeah. Pretty much got thrown into it because the referee, I can't remember who it was who was meant to be there, wasn't there, or the Thai boxing referee didn't want to do the MMA side of it.
Right.
And it was, I was like, I know what I'm looking for, because I've been, like I said, I used to do like what you call commission or be a runner back at Cage Rage when it used to be in Wembley and stuff. So I used to work at the back of house, bring the fighters to the cage. So I was always around the referee side of stuff, the rules talk, what can be done, what can't be done. And just basically learn on the job.
Wow.
So I fell into it that way, and I absolutely loved it. And I thought, touch wood, nothing went wrong that night. I think both fights finished in a submission, so it wasn't
That's best outcome,
yeah,
isn't it?
Of course it is. Yeah. Well, you say that. I knew what I was looking for. If you know, I've seen referees fight had been into a submission and referee not knowing that they're out or what submissions they're in. So
it's surprising, isn't it? Because even at sort of like regional jiu-jitsu tournaments. Sometimes the ref's looking around like that while someone's got someone in the counter.
I don't mean no disrespect, but jiu-jitsu refereeing is totally different to MMA refereeing. You're right. Like when you go to jiu-jitsu competitions, unless
some of the referees are great.
Yeah, but unless you're going to to a competition where it's just one mat and one ref, whereas when you go to like somewhere like Crystal Palace and you've got 12 mats and you've got 12 different refs and 12 different fights going on, and you sometimes, and I've seen it, referees do get someone's shouting over there, the referee's like, "Oh, what's going on over there?" And the guy's getting choked or submitted over here, or he's got 2 points or whatever it is he's got over, and he's missed that. So it is hard in that sense, and it is a bit more lax. Whereas in MMA you're looking for quite a lot of stuff, the stand-up stuff, the wrestling stuff, and
must be a little bit different as well, like having an audience on you, because do you think?
Yeah, not necessarily on the referee. I think I blanked that out. But again, going back to the jiu-jitsu side of it, I think there's a lot more going on. Like I said, you've got other stuff going on different mats. Like I've worked one of the IMAF tournaments where they have like 3 cages, and even refereeing that, again, you do have to really focusing on what you're doing, because someone else could be shouting, "Hey, tap ref,"
Right.
or the horn or the bell or something else going on over there, but you know it's not your cage. I've seen referees go, "Stop," and it's like, "Oh, I thought I heard the bell go," but it wasn't for his cage, it was for the other cage or whatever it is, you know. But yeah, bringing it back round. So that's how I kind of got into refereeing.
Oh wow! I mean, that is the kind of like I don't know. It's what I think that people would call like a sort of sliding doors moment. It's
Yeah.
like if you're just like, we need a referee.
I was in the
to a
right
ref.
place at the right time, and look, back then as well, there was no such thing as, you know, lucky enough today, we got you know, like Mark Goddard, he puts his courses on. You can come at a 10, you can come and learn, whether you're, you know, judging, refereeing, and even if you're just, you know, don't want to do those things, if you're even as a coach, like last course we done, we had coaches on there, you know, just because they just wanted to learn the criteria of judging, what the rule sets are for the referee and stuff.
I think that's like, I think for coaches to do that would be really good.
Yeah, because how many times have you seen coaches go, "Oh, ref, why was it like this?" And you try to explain to them, or you say to them, "Well, you
I've
tell me." I've
definitely been one of those people.
Yeah,
at a
of
jiu-jitsu
course, most
tournament,
probably.
because you want your guy
Yeah,
to
of
win,
course.
but you probably, you know, there's going to be times when you're wrong.
But even when you go to a course and you listen, you
Yeah.
actually get a breakdown. You're like, "Oh, this is what they're looking for," or "This is why it was a foul," or "This is why it was a no contest," or "This is why they gave it a 10-8 or 10-9 in judging." You're like, "Oh, actually,
Yeah.
it makes sense now," you know?
Yeah.
Not saying every judge is
Yeah,
right or every
yeah.
referee's right, but it just opens your eyes a little bit, right?
Yeah, so I mean, for people that don't know, you're also you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu as well.
Yeah.
I need to try.
I need to try it a little bit more, but yes, I am.
He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
right? So obviously, I think that as a referee, that's great. Like, as in, you know, someone that's refereeing at your level. You know, you've refed in, like, I think maybe you mentioned earlier, but like UFC and Cage Rage, Cage Warriors as well.
Cage Warriors is what I used to...
Sorry,
yeah,
Cage Warriors. But I think that's pretty essential. Really,
100%. I definitely think it's essential for a referee to know the groundwork, even the basic stuff. Like I said, when Mark was running his course, there's a section there where it throws up different submissions in different positions for you to be able to name the submission, the position, you know, because as a referee, if someone's got someone in a go-go plata, right, or a Peruvian necktie, and you're standing on the wrong side and you can't see
our cameraman here, he's like, what are you talking about?
You're just throwing flashy words out there. But if you don't know where the position is, you've got to stand or you've got to be to look for the tap, to see the body language, the eyes, how he's, you know, if he's gone out or she's gone out.
Yeah.
If you can't recognise that, someone's in serious trouble, right?
Yeah.
Not me, the fighters, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm there to keep them, the guys and girls, safe. But I do think it's vital for anybody who's looking to become an official to learn the basics. Look, at the end of the day, the stand-up really, there's only a couple of elements you're looking for: punching and kicking and clinching, right?
Yeah.
Whereas on the ground, you know yourself.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
It's a little bit less. I mean, it's less complicated to understand,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's obviously, like from a striking.
What striking side, yes.
Like,
sorry.
as in, it's, even though I think that it would be great
Yeah.
that people still have knowledge of it.
Yeah,
but it's
100%. Because even up until recently, I won't throw anyone under the bus. I'm sure people have seen on social media. Certain fighters caught in the triangle, and the referees missed the body language. Right, the guy's out, palpitating, legs gone flat, missed it. His leg gone in straight into an armbar. Guy's clearly still out, and his arm's being hyperextended. And the guy comes to, he's like, "What the fuck?" and taps. By that point, the guy's been choked, put to sleep, woken back up in an armbar, possibly broken his arm,
Tough night
and
for
then
him,
tap.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's being able to recognise. I'm not saying referees don't make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But you got to. There's a limit, right? You got to understand the body language and that. That's what I love. Look, I'm never gonna really compete much in jiu-jitsu. I've never wanted to become, you know, like, especially now in today's day and age, you guys, especially the jiu-jitsu side of stuff, lucky enough that you've got so many platforms where you can actually make possibly a living as far as competing goes, and or extra pocket money, because there's prize money and stuff like that.
It does seem to be a little bit more like that. That trend is getting there. Like, isn't it? People can earn big prize fighters from a jiu-jitsu standpoint.
But what I was getting at is I don't come training because I come training because I like being around the people I like being with, and also it just helps my knowledge and keeps me sharp on my toes. All right, this is what I need to look for. This is the angles I need to go for. You might come up with a new submission for me, and I go, shit, if I ever see that in a fight, I kind of know what position I need to be in or what's being applied. Is it a choke? Is it a submission? Is it a joint manipulation? Whatever that may be, you know.
Yeah.
So I do think it's
It's
important.
homework for your job, though, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go and train. Is that how you justify it to your wife? You're
well,
like,
yeah.
well, I've got to go and train. I've got to go and you know,
and the
it's work.
tax man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like, so in terms of like just going back to the thing about like when you see a fighter that might be, let's say, work backwards if they get choked. What's the process, or they go out? What's the process that you look for? Is it like you grab? I know some referees they grab the thumb.
Yeah.
You say, are you still there? Like, what do you do to really keep an eye on that?
Look, again, first of all, it depends on what level. Obviously, you've got amateur MMA and then you've got professional. Amateur MMA, you would also more than likely side on caution, right? I wouldn't let, like in professional, again, this is what I'm talking about. Some people find the professional rule sets and you know, they get that mixed up with thinking that they're professionals, as in that's their sole job that they do. It isn't. Look, some people see me as a referee. By trade, I'm a postie. Right, that's my job. And then
postman,
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And refereeing is my hobby and my love and my passion. And if I can make a living out of it, great. You know. But going back to looking for things that with amateurs, I would 9 times out of 10 wouldn't let an amateur pass out. I wouldn't. It would get to a point if I recognise that, look, he can't show me or she can't show me the technique to get out of it. And that's the other thing of training jiu-jitsu. If the guy's just sitting there and his hands are like this and he's not protecting the choke, well, clearly you don't know what you're doing. The guy's fighting it and he's protecting himself or caught in an armbar and is going the right way, I'll let you fight out of it, right? But if it becomes a point where you can't, then I'll take that decision out of your hand. That's only on amateurs. Professionals, I will let you go to sleep, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, I suppose like over the years, I think one of the really good spots was that there was a fight between Frank Mir and Tim Sylvia.
That's the most classic one, yeah.
And Herb Dean spotted the broken arm. He was like with his eagle eye, and everyone in the crowd's going, "Why'd you stop it?" Like, as in there was for about 2 minutes.
Yep.
But he seemed to like see what everyone else didn't see. He saw the forearms
snap. Yeah, and that's
a hard job. Right?
It is a hard job,
and he did.
It is a hard job, but again, you're the referee who can see that, right? But in a professional fight, you would let that break. Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because
I didn't know
that's what you kind of like in pros. It's down to you to tap, right? Whereas amateurs, I'm there. I want you to have that longevity of career to be able to turn pro, especially today. Like back then, might be a bit different. There was no such thing as really amateur MMA. The rule sets weren't really there. So in the last 8 to 9 years, really, they've had a good MMA amateur rule sets that have come in to be able to give them a grassroots level to be able to work up to become a professional. Or fight under the professional rule sets. But yeah, what we say is, look, like going back to things I'm looking for, again, if they're, for example, if they're in a choke, I'm looking for your body language, I'm looking for, again, I always say to fighters, look, if I'm looking at you, I don't want you to give me a thumbs up, I don't want you to talk to me, because there's been times where fighters, I'm all right, ref, like that, and I might mistake that as a verbal tap, you know, well, help top, you know, there might be a miscommunication. So what I say to fighters is, don't give me a thumbs up. Don't talk to me.
That would have been my instinct.
But let your fighting do the work.
Right.
So as long as I'm seeing you're working, you're hand fighting, you're tucking your chin, you're trying to work out, that's fine. Then obviously when you stop doing that, and I feel like your leg, most important thing, I think, yeah, you're right. People do lift the arms up, see if it goes floppy or not. But it's the legs as well. Once the legs goes out of you, then you're like. But then the classic one is Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren. Don't know if you saw it with the headlock or the bulldog chart.